Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. Today is Thursday, July 29th, 2021, and today we're going to be talking about Representative Conor Lamb from the state of Pennsylvania, who is set to announce his bid for United States Senate in 2022 in August of this year. Now, Conor Lamb is a well-known name amongst Pennsylvania Democrats, largely because of a special election back in 2018, right before the midterm election year, or right during the midterm election year in March. There was a special election in which Conor Lamb, the Democrat, was the first Democrat in a special election to oust a Republican and essentially win in a competitive district. Democrats had lagged behind in multiple special elections leading up to this one, including a very notable one in Georgia's 6th congressional district, in which Jon Ossoff, the Democrat, now a senator from Georgia, then a candidate, lost to Karen Handel, someone who had ran for office in the state of Georgia, and lost previously. He lost to Karen Handel. Democrats had lost around the nation. I believe Archie Parnell was another Democrat that had lost in South Carolina's 5th district, which was held on the same day as the 6th district of Georgia. So main takeaway was that Democrats had suffered losses in these special elections despite having moral victories. And a moral victory essentially is a narrowing up of a race, but not an actual victory. So Conor Lamb's victory was very monumental. It was a very big point of interest for the Democratic Party that they were able to finally prove to members of the House delegation and Donald Trump that they had energy on their side enough to flip a congressional district that would otherwise be rated as safe. In the 18th district in 2016, I kid you not, this race wasn't even contested. Was not even contested. And then you fast forward to go back in time to 2014. The 18th district, not even contested. So for this district to have been so non-competitive, to turn into a Democratic pickup, Tim Murphy in 2012, as the incumbent, won by nearly 30 points. So the Republicans had a strong history in the 18th district, but there was one person who was able to flip such a district. And then in 2018, there was a redistricting in the state of Pennsylvania. That's when Conor Lamb went on to continue in the United States House of Representatives and win in the 17th district, and yet again flip one district from red to blue. So as you can see here, Conor Lamb serves as a good point for the Democratic Party, a good name and a good recognizable name because of his electoral history. And knowing this, Conor Lamb is being touted as a top name for the Senate race in 2022. Just a little bit of a background on that. There is Senator Pat Toomey, an outward critic of President Trump, who now is retiring from the United States Senate, getting around 60 years old. So he's leaving the Senate, doesn't really want to be working within Washington, D.C. anymore. And since it is an open race, you can expect it to be much more competitive than normal. An open race in Congress is pretty much just, completely a gift to both sides, especially in these very competitive races. And knowing exactly how close the Senate delegation is now, 50-50, with the Democratic Party being in some of their narrowest majorities in the 21st century, including in the House of Representatives, every single seat matters, both in the Senate and in the House. So Conor Lamb would be a good candidate for the Democratic Party. To put it plainly, he's probably one of their stronger ones. Now, John Fetterman is the Lieutenant Governor of Pennsylvania. He has already announced that he is running in the state of Pennsylvania and seems to be the front runner as it stands now. John Fetterman, who was elected back in 2018, is now going on to potentially become the next senator from the state of Pennsylvania. And when you take a look at the endorsements that he has received, it isn't exactly as if many top names have weighed in on this race at all. I mean, John Fetterman himself has received the endorsement from workers, steel workers, National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, from some individuals. But point being that there haven't been many major hints towards which candidate is the front runner besides John Fetterman being the lieutenant governor of the state. And you can see here that Sharif Street, received a number of endorsements, but I wouldn't exactly call these to be extremely notable endorsements. We haven't seen any extremely notable endorsements yet, including Tom Wolf, the governor of Pennsylvania, who is extremely popular, who has declined to endorse a candidate. And in the hypothetical polling, it confirms exactly what I've been saying, that John Fetterman is the frontrunner. Now, this poll actually included Conor Lamb, the representative from the 17th district, and he actually lags behind John Fetterman. Fetterman has the name recognition of being the lieutenant governor and also the fact that he has taken a number of stances that lieutenant governors or governor candidates or Senate candidates otherwise might not. John Fetterman is known for putting up a legalized marijuana flag outside of his office or also supporting LGBTQ plus rights, whereas other representatives, other Senate candidates, other Democrats may not be so fully in support, enough so that they would put a flag outside of their office. So Fetterman has that reputation, but Conor Lamb himself offers this history, this electable history in a competitive state and also in a competitive district. I do not want to take away from his special election victory. Conor Lamb, in this victory in the 17th district back in 2018, was a very monumental one. The 18th district at the time. And the reason why it is so monumental, you saw the electoral history of the state. This is a district that had a Cook PVI of Republican plus 10, which means that compared to the rest of the nation, this district was 10 points more Republican. So for Conor Lamb to have won in this district was such a huge deal for the Democrats and a huge indicator of what might come in 2018. And you can sort of guess exactly what happened. Now in 2020, despite being redistricted into a safer district, the 17th district was actually very competitive. Conor Lamb's opponent, Sean Parnell, has already announced that he is running for United States Senate in 2022. So we might actually get a race between Sean Parnell and also Conor Lamb. Again, as we saw in 2020. And I think it'll be quite interesting to see exactly what happens between these candidates. You are looking at two Democrats right now, John Fetterman and Conor Lamb, that have a roughly equal chance of winning the nomination. And then you have a failed candidate on the Republican side who might end up being the nominee, but we still don't have an idea of who the frontrunners are within the Republican Party. But then again, I am not trying to say failed candidate to try to bring about a negative tone towards this candidate, Sean Parnell, in this race. All I am saying is that the Republican Party doesn't really have many top members running in this United States Senate race. Conor Lamb is a representative from the 17th district. He is a well-known name, a shining star within the Democratic Party, at least within the Pennsylvania Democratic Party. And then you have John Fetterman, a well-known name statewide who won back in 2018, not by the largest amount, but was able to win that primary, especially winning in regions that would be crucial to Conor Lamb's potential victory and might actually outpace him in such regions that could go on to potentially win in this United States Senate election. Now, I'm intrigued to see exactly what's going to happen in 2022 with the Senate race here as to which Republicans will end up being right up there with the Democratic Party in terms of electability, in terms of strong candidates. But right now, I haven't really seen that many top names. Of the announced candidates, you really don't have that many people. You have a candidate for Senate in 2016. You have the former U.S. ambassador to Denmark, and then really, you just have failed nominees. Nominee for lieutenant governor, nominee for Pennsylvania's 17th congressional district, former chief of staff to U.S. Senator Arlen Specter, who ended up becoming a Democrat by the end of everything. But point being that all of these Republicans running, none of them have notable positions enough that I would say they outrank or even match the Democratic Party in terms of the electoral weight, in terms of the political power that some of these other Democrats have. And in this decline list here and the potential list here, the decline list has some more appealing names to the voters, I would think, than the potential list itself. But the Republicans really need to find someone who is currently a representative, someone who is currently a statewide official, a notable Republican to get rid of the Democrats in this race. Because Conor Lamb can absolutely win this race. I'm not going to focus much on John Fetterman anymore because this is not a video about him. But Conor Lamb in this race absolutely can win the general election. You see, this state itself is Pennsylvania. If you look at the presidential election results in 2020, you will see that Pennsylvania was amongst the closest races in 2020. It went to Joe Biden by just 1.2%, despite him referencing almost all the time that, he has a past in the state of Pennsylvania, that he's from and born in the state of Pennsylvania, that he is able to claim that state as his own. And while that surely helped him win the state, I don't know for sure if that is the determining factor as to why he did. But even with all of that referencing, all of that money spent on Pennsylvania, Joe Biden only won the state by 1.2%. It's a very close state. Donald Trump won it by 0.7% back in 2016, so it does swing back and forth. But this Senate election in particular, this exact class of seat dating back to 2016 and 2010, has had pretty strong results for the Republican Party, but not out of the Democratic Party's lack of trying. It's just they have had candidates that just haven't been able to be too strong in these individual races and ultimately lose to Pat Toomey just because of the fact that they ran poor campaigns. You have Katie McGinty here, who lost by 1.5%. This was an absolutely winnable race. While McGinty wasn't expected to do better than Hillary Clinton based off the polling data, she could have won this Senate race, partially in fault of Hillary Clinton and maybe more so Donald Trump turning the tides in the state. But Pennsylvania was highly regarded as an easy pickup opportunity for Democrats, and they still lost by double the margin Hillary Clinton lost by. In 2010, despite Pennsylvania going to Barack Obama by double digits in 2008, 2 years later, in an open race, Joe Sestak lost to Pat Toomey. This again was another winnable race, but because the Democrat did not do well enough, meaning it was their race to lose, Pennsylvania went red. And if you want a little bit of history about this exact Senate seat, Arlen Specter is a Republican, former Republican, who turned independent, turned Democrat in Pennsylvania. In fact, went straight from Republican to Democrat, ultimately shifting party control in the Senate to Democrats at 60 seats and the Republicans at 40. From 59 to 41, which was preventing Democrats from passing many major pieces of legislation because they did not have a filibuster-proof majority, Arlen Specter switching gave them that majority. But then Joe Sestak defeated him in the Democratic nomination, went on to face Pat Toomey, and lost. This race was winnable for Democrats 2 times, and they ended up losing it. Conor Lamb might be able to break that streak. And the reason why is a combination of the fact this is an open race and Conor Lamb's individual strong characteristics. And when you take a look at Conor Lamb's electoral history, the reason why he did well is because he offered something new to the table that many other Democrats did not. Conor Lamb is a centrist. He offers that more moderate tone to the campaign, a tone that clearly resonated with voters in the state of Pennsylvania, at least in the 18th district leading up to 2018, and now the 17th district. It seems that moderate types of candidates are able to perform well in Pennsylvania's Democratic primaries and in their overall general elections. While that might not necessarily be the case around the country, I think that would actually be a plus for Conor Lamb in terms of electability. And while he has not officially announced that he's running, you can actually see here that his website is more focused on United States House rather than it is the United States Senate. I mean, it hasn't really transferred over like you might expect because he's still preparing his bid. He has yet to announce it, and we still don't exactly have the real indication that he's going to be running, but it says here that he will be launching his Senate campaign on August 6th. It says that there is going to be a campaign event where he's going to meet in Pittsburgh, and that's where he's going to announce his Senate run. So while many of us were expecting Conor Lamb to run, this is now days away. It is imminent. Conor Lamb is gearing up his bid. And also, it might be something to point out that his website says Conor Lamb for Congress and not for Senate. But again, Congress does include the United States Senate. So maybe the website's already done because it's not as if he's going to change his policies or where he stands on certain issues to run for United States Senate, though I wouldn't put it past politicians, though I wouldn't exactly expect Conor Lamb to do so because many of his types of stances and the way he has voted has clearly resonated and worked within competitive districts. We will wait and see. I think Conor Lamb is going to be a pretty strong candidate for the Democratic Party. As it stands now, I really don't see the same type of enthusiasm or the same type of energy on the Republican side in terms of who is actually running. I mean, you have practically no-name candidates all across the Republican primary, and the only major one who would actually be recognizable by the face because of his speaking role at the RNC is Sean Parnell. Beyond that, there wasn't much else within the GOP, and there isn't much else for me to see here as an opportunity for Republicans to deny either Conor Lamb or John Fetterman the eventual victory in this Pennsylvania general election. Conor Lamb is a strong candidate amongst two and potentially others. We don't know entirely yet. Point being, though, that once Conor Lamb makes this announcement, the Republicans will be fully pushed back upon. Not only will they have the lieutenant governor running against them, but also a representative who has had strong electoral history that they certainly do not want to fight in this Senate election. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to comment down suggestions below. Subscribe on the left if you haven't already, and check out the Instagram and Twitter. At the bottom left of the screen, there's also a Discord server for you to go ahead and join. On the screen, there's a video you can watch, and then a playlist for my 2022 Senate election analysis videos. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow.